Hello everyone, Ian here with a special little episode of the Take A Pew Podcast. A Diddy episode, in fact, or perhaps that should be a Diddy-sode. Anyway, you'll find us today at Take A Pew Towers, otherwise known as my house. Simon Clark is here with me, of course. Hello, Simon.
Hello, Ian, and hello, listeners.
Now, it's still early morning here. We've already had some lovely coffee and croissants, and we're settling down with soundman Mark. Say hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark.
Very good. And we're ready to welcome our guest.
And it's our first returning guest, someone who was, in fact, our very first guest, and a good friend of the show, the Reverend Mark Potter.
Mark Potter. Yes, Mark's been complaining that we've got new features on the show that he didn't get to do. So we thought it only fair to do a little update with him. So here we are. This is a Diddy Take A Pew podcast with the Reverend Mark Potter.
Mark Potter!
Take a pew.
So, Mark, welcome back to the show, and please, take a pew.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Hello, Mark. It's so nice to see you again. Perhaps you could just remind our lovely listeners who you are.
I'm the Reverend Mark Potter. I'm actually now Vicar of Christ Church, Ottershaw. I have 2 children still. I haven't had any more, called Dorothy and Sam. And I've got a wife also called Charlotte.
Wonderful. So we mentioned that we're doing this to give you a crack at some of the new features, but I also recognise that when we started doing this, the original intention for the Take A Pew podcast was that it would only be about 30 minutes. And we didn't quite manage that with you because we actually ended up with 39 minutes. But all the other shows that we've done over the last couple of years have been about an hour. So you were a bit shortchanged. Sorry about that.
I was, yeah.
No, but we'll put that right now, Mark. It will be good, actually, to catch up with what you've been doing since November 2020. But then we'll have a go at your fondest childhood memory, the great 8 favourite things, 12 years from now, and the fabulous Take A Pew dinner party.
Yes, we will indeed. But anyway, how's it been going, Mark? What's happened? So when we last met, you were curate in our own parish of Wisley with Perfect.
Curate for 3 years, pretty much on the dot 3 years, which was a bit disconcerting because I really love Perfect and I wasn't really ready to move on, and then God kind of shoved me quite hard in one direction, which was the direction of Ottershaw. And I was actually the first curate of my cohort to be employed as a vicar. And this job came up, which was an incredible answer to prayer because we didn't want to move out of the area. Charlotte had a lovely job in Byfleet. And so if we'd have had to move further afield, probably should have had to give that job up. So it was an amazing time, but kind of a bit at a time where I was trying to catch up with where God was pushing me because I was like, I quite enjoy it here. I'll see out the whole of my allowed time in curacy in Perford, and I was 7 months short of that.
And so just to be clear, Ottershaw's not a million miles away.
No, it's about 4.5 miles away.
Just round the corner, really.
Yep.
So that's good. And so what's changed? So have you got a new pair of shoes?
I have. I've got 2 new pairs of shoes, both Adidas trainers. I was bought for Christmas, I think.
Do you feel that's made a difference in your life?
Yeah, they're really comfortable.
No, it's important to have.
My old Adidas pair were very smooth, and I was slipping everywhere.
No, that's not good.
No,
You've got a bit of extra grip. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about Ottershaw Parish.
Ottershaw.
And the church.
It's a small church. It looks prominent because it's on a hill. So it's quite a prominent church, Victorian build, and but Ottershaw itself, it's a lovely little village with everything that you need in the village, i.e. a Chinese restaurant and an Indian restaurant and a one-stop.
There's a nice little pub there, isn't there?
There is a lovely little
Castle.
pub called the Castle, just down the road
I
from
met
us.
my wife there on our first date.
Right,
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't
And
it?
a social club as well,
Yeah.
so which Charlotte and I go into.
Do you tend to wear a dog collar when you go to the social club?
It depends when I go. And sometimes I will go directly after church. I think I've been once or twice directly after church and I'll be wearing a dog collar, but generally not. Generally it's sort of Friday, my day off. We'll go in there when Charlotte gets home from work.
Do you find people approach you differently when you're wearing a dog collar in that sort of situation?
Yeah, I think you get a reaction. There's a bit of a sort of polarity with it, that some people approach you because you're wearing a dog collar, or will happily speak to you because of that, I think. And other people will kind of be a bit more standoffish because of that. I heard one of your interviewees say that it seems a bit dishonest to not wear a dog collar, almost.
That was Father Alex, wasn't it?
I think it was,
Talking about
Father
stealth
Alex.
vicars.
Yeah, stealth vicars, undercover. And we'll get you one day, you know. Sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knows I'm the vicar, and I introduce, even if I'm not wearing a dog collar, if I'm meeting new people, I'll introduce myself as the vicar. So people kind of know who I am now, just about.
Yeah. And how's being a vicar feel compared with being a curate?
I think it's a lot more pressured in some ways. I think the interesting thing is that those things that I feel that I'm probably gifted in, as a vicar, I'm able to do less. So pastoral work or pastoral meetings with people, your diary gets crowded with admin and other stuff, and you can't do as much pastoral stuff as you'd want to, as I'd want to. And particularly preparing for sermons, which should be like right up there, and it kind of gets squashed, and the space in your diary gets squashed and squashed till you've got, I might be able to write this sermon in an hour, possibly, whereas I'd rather give a day for a sermon, or certainly half a day for a sermon. I saw some statistics recently about the American church, and the average American church leader has 15 hours a week sermon prep time. It's like, that's luxury. How could have sermon prep 15 hours a week?
Have you had any sort of fun moments or interesting or embarrassing moments since you've been there?
I think I was challenged about something in my congregation, which was an interesting moment. It was one Stewardship Sunday, and I was challenged about how we should be raising money. And I just had a disagreement with this particular person. We kind of had a bit of a to and fro in the middle of a service.
Oh, gosh.
which was slightly awkward, but this person was so humble and so lovely, but it was quite a funny time. That's probably the most awkward time I've had, where we've actually had a proper kind of disagreement in front of the whole congregation. So,
in the middle of the sermon that you'd spent 8 minutes
they just said, that's
preparing.
Rubbish, Mark. Yeah.
Very good. Well, I'm glad it's going reasonably well. Still got new challenges, I'm sure, coming up every day. But the point of doing this, apart from obviously catching up, is to give you a go at some of the features.
Yeah,
course,
brilliant.
As we said that we didn't get to do in the very first show all those years ago. And the first one we're going to give you a shot at is this.
What's your fondest childhood memory? What's your fondest of all your childhood memories? What's your fondest?
Oh. Yes. Your fondest childhood memory, Mark.
So my fondest childhood memory, I've pondered this a little bit. There's been loads, and that's been the amazing thing, that I've been so blessed through my childhood with loads of fond childhood memories. But there's one particular memory I remember where I'd just gone to bed. I was about 4 or 5 years old, and my mum and dad came in to wake me up because it was Christmas time. It was probably the middle of December, and Santa Claus was coming round on one of those kind of lorry things. You know, Santa drives a lorry, but they had a sleigh on the back of a lorry, and there was Santa there, and he's giving out mints and tangerines, I think, which are a Christmas staple, to all the kids on the estate.
Mince or mince?
Like beef,
Minced beef.
mince.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it 10% fat or 15?
It was 20%. We
20%
made some burgers
fat.
with it later.
Oh,
yeah,
great
it was
stuff.
fantastic. No, mince.
Mince.
Yeah, as
Oh,
in
mince.
the white
Nice.
things
Yeah,
that taste
okay.
of mint. So my parents got me up, and I remember, this is quite embarrassing, I had to do a bit of a number two on, well, not a bit of a number two, a whole number two on the potty. And then I got out, and my dad actually carried me out, and I got mints and stuff. So that was a lovely thing, and it was just lovely that not the I can't remember that vividly. I probably can actually,
What an extraordinary story. So that revolves around
I
a
think
good old
we
poo.
got
but
slightly derailed by the fact that I needed the toilet before we went out to see Santa. And
do you tend to recall most of your visits to the toilet during your childhood?
see, I'd like to say no, but I think Probably, yeah. No, I don't. I mean, I don't know. Just don't ask Charlotte about this at all. Not that she knew me when I was a child, but.
I'm sorry, I'm slightly distracted by the thought of how on earth I'm going to edit this bit.
Just leave it all in, mate. It's comedy gold.
So that was good. Were there other rivals for your fondest memory as you pondered it?
Couple, probably. I think the one where I was with my friend and we, back in the 80s when you sort of left home on a Saturday morning at about 10 a.m. and then returned home at 5 p.m. sort of after a day out with your friends on your bike. And we were getting back to home. It was about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then there was a massive downpour. And my friend had just ridden off on his bike, and he came back and said, "Mark, you've got to see this." And the bottom of our road was flooded to the point that it was about 3 feet deep in water. And so we just got on our bikes and just went through that and just messing around on our bikes through this temporary lake, essentially, what it was. And I guess the other time was my first time when I went to France, to the south of France, I should say, and that sort of hit of heat. We went to Nice. My uncle had a villa out there, and that sort of feeling of the heat that isn't like English heat out there, and that was that was cool.
So a choice of childhood memories there, that's lovely. And the next feature we're going to leap onto is a little game we like to call...
My favourite things.
Yes, my favourite things. Now, you did most of this last time, Mark, but there's a couple of bits we just want to pick up on. And the first is, we obviously had top 5 films, and we didn't do that throughout the whole of the first season. It was just, I think we did it once with you and once with someone else. But it was so popular, with us at least, that we thought we'd do it with everyone. So, as you know, we do it with everyone now. But and we've had quite a few film buffs, and you've been one of the film buffs that on the show. So we thought we'd give you a chance to update your top 5 films. Now, I don't know if you can remember what your top 5 were last time.
My top 5 were The Empire Strikes Back, number 1, The Shawshank Redemption, number 2, Jaws, number 3.
Jaws 3.
Jaws, no.
No, not Jaws 3.
Jaws 3.
I thought you said Jaws number 3.
No, number 3 on the list.
I see.
Jaws 3 is an abominable film.
It wasn't good, was it?
It was awful. And Jaws the Revenge was even worse.
Yeah.
Horrendous. Anyway, number 4, Almost Famous, and then number 5 was The Usual Suspects. But I'm going to change that now.
Oh, okay.
Recently, Charlotte and I watched for the first time in a while the Untouchables, Brian De Palma film. I think that's going to sneak in ahead of The Usual Suspects. We had it for our wedding, Charlotte's wedding march. We had the theme tune for The Untouchables because we loved the film. We watched that scene where Al Capone beats the guy over the head with a baseball bat, and we thought we really need this in the wedding march. So yeah, she walked down the aisle. I think it's Ennio Morricone did the score for that, and it's just an amazing film score, but also great film.
It's definitely one of my favourite films, Untouchables. I think it's fantastic. Okay, all right. So is that the only change?
I think so.
Oh really? I thought you were going to come up with a whole new list.
No, I'm not going to come up with a whole new list. I think Almost Famous is still a great film. I mean, maybe there are a few contenders. I love Stand By Me. Return of the Jedi would be pushing for a space in there. But
so not many changes there. That's good. But the other thing that we've introduced into my favourite things more recently is our Great 8.
Oh, yeah.
Group of quickfire categories where we feel it just gives us a great insight into the inner workings of the mind and spirit of our guests. But so the Great 8, let's have a quick go though. So 8 quickfire rounds. First is your favourite book or author?
Maybe C.S. Lewis. Maybe The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is still a cracking book. So I think if I steer away from theology for a minute, but yeah, probably C.S. Lewis. Yeah, I reckon.
Okay. Favourite type of food?
Probably American style steaks, medium rare.
Barry, not any particular cut?
I think ribeye.
Okay.
Yeah, I like ribeye. When you render down the fat, it's just great. And there's loads of flavour in ribeye. I think I'm not a massive fan of fillets. A fillet's fine for certain things, but no, decent ribeye, thick cuts, a couple of inches thick, perfect.
It gets the taste because it's got the rib in it, hasn't it? And the eye.
And the eye, yeah, the eye of the cow.
Yeah.
Is a bit awkward.
Lends a certain tang.
Pops in your mouth.
Right. Okay. Favourite TV programme?
The West Wing.
Oh, okay. Easy one, quite clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, favourite sport?
Football.
I guess that was obvious. Favourite band?
The Foo Fighters, I think.
I think they came up the first time, actually. That's a bit
They
of a
probably did. Yeah, I
repeat.
think on the Dave question.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
Dave Grohl was
Grohl.
one of the
Favourite
options.
David. I'm particularly proud. Still my favourite multiple choice question. I was very, very proud of that one. But there we go.
Good.
You'll have to listen, listeners, if you didn't hear that. It's astonishing.
Favourite holiday destination?
Chicago, I think. Yeah, Charlotte and I love Chicago. It's like New York with space, and particularly in the winter, it's snowy and picturesque. In the summer, it's 30 plus degrees and just lovely place to kind of mosey around. Lake Michigan there and everything. Yeah, it's great.
Your favourite chocolate bar?
Well, it's not really chocolate,
Okay.
so I'm just not answering the question. Caramac.
Oh,
Can you count Caramac as
Oh,
chocolate?
yeah,
I
just,
think-
just about.
I think we'd let that in.
Caramac.
Still sell those.
And
then,
if we're
gosh.
really going for chocolate bar, I would say Star Bars. But I love Star Bars.
Star Bars also have made an appearance on the show. They were in one of the
right.
multiple choice questions.
Ah, cool.
Favourite star? That was one of the options.
Favourite board game?
Trivial Pursuit, I think. I like quizzes. Love pub quizzes. Anything like that.
Very good. Well, that was the Great Eight. And when we met recently with a chap called Glenn Scrivener, he actually took us on a slightly strange tangent talking about board games because he was going on about how much he didn't like Monopoly. And that led me to think, actually, it'd be quite interesting to have a sort of anti-favourite things. So we'd like to play the Great Eight again with you, this time with your least favourite thing.
This is really tricky, this one.
It's a tricky one, isn't
In
it?
each
Yeah.
category.
You have
So-
to edit this well, in the sense that you cut the whole section out.
So your least favourite book or author. Let's say least favourite author.
How am I going to answer that? Wouldn't want to name any names. There are some quite wordy authors in theology circles, and unnecessarily so, for no real good reason at times. So yeah, I haven't answered the question.
It is that's quite a hard category to come up with the least favourite.
Yeah.
All right, your least favourite type of food?
I think I'd have to say, although I love most food, but I'd have to say Thai food, interestingly.
Controversial.
I eat everything, as you can probably guess. But I'd probably Thai food is the one that I would choose to eat less of, I guess.
So it's a sweeping generalisation of condemnation, you'd say Thai.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's fair enough. Your least favourite TV programme?
Oh, what was Charlotte watching the other night? Oh, like home decor programs. Oh, what are we going to do with this room? Who cares? Seriously, like, what colour should we? Just paint it. I don't care. Just show it to me when it's done. I do feel sorry for Charlotte actually because she watches a lot of football and clearly it's just a real sacrificial thing that she's doing. And 10 minutes into a programme like that, I'm like just seething pretty much. So
Excellent.
Okay. Sport?
badminton, which is the worst kind of minton there is. Maybe something like bowls. Actually, probably, it might be fair to say horse racing is probably my least favourite sport, actually. People are either into it or they're not. And I'm just not one of those guys that are into it. So.
I did see a little bit of some bowls World Championship thing on telly. But the bowlers were wearing shorts. And they had quite sort of athletic-looking shirts on and very strange.
That is odd.
And the audience looked entirely that they had just been bussed in from Songs of Praise. They all had pink cardigans on. Right, your least favourite band?
ABBA, probably.
Oh, that's harsh.
That's come up as a favourite.
Something like ABBA. but-
Even though they appear in the Bible.
Yeah, even though they appear in the Bible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. For those of you that don't understand, Ian's making a reference to the word father being Abba. No. No, they don't appear in the Bible.
Okay, right.
Oh dear, I thought my jokes were bad. Least favourite holiday destination?
Like Bognor Regis. Let's say Bognor Regis.
Okay.
Let's just say that. I've been there once and I don't
Regis.
think I enjoyed it.
Bognor's had a tough rap over the years. It was always one of these, Cleethorpes and Bognor and Cricklewood. They were always the comedy places, weren't they? But poor old Bognor. We love Bognor on the show. Thank you very much.
Yeah. No.
Okay, your least favourite chocolate bar?
maybe an Aero.
Another controversial choice.
Yeah, I mean, they're all right, but if I'm being real about it, I like the idea of liking Turkish Delight, but I probably wouldn't eat it very often. So, yeah. Actually, no, I know what my least favourite chocolate bar is. It's fries. It's like creamy thing.
Chocolate cream.
Yeah, that one I really don't like. Or if you had like a box of chocolates, the strawberry chocolates that you get in a box of chocolates, disgusting. They taste like chocolate and Pripsen. Did you ever have Pripsen when you were a child?
No.
Pripsen is anti-worm medication.
I did have that. Yeah, I quite like that.
Really disgusting, and your mum has to hold your nose. Because it's just vile. I mean, now it's fine. My kids have it easy. We just take these little tablets, have a few worms, just pop an orange flavoured tablet in your mouth. Brilliant.
Worms?
You know,
do people actually get worms?
We used to get worms when we were kids.
I never got worms.
You never got worms?
I've never heard of anyone getting worms.
Mark, you've had worms, haven't you?
I've never heard of anyone having worms. Dogs have worms.
No, you used to get kids. We used to get worms a lot, and used to get the Pripsen.
That's so bizarre. I'm shocked.
So great. So yeah, those strawberry chocolates, they taste like chocolates injected with
Chocolate worms.
this anti-worm medication called Pripsen, which was so vile.
Yeah, you used to pour it and stir it all around.
Yeah, stir it around and drink it down. And it'd take you like an hour to drink it.
Ironically, you used to be able to get chocolate worms, though, didn't you? Just to bring a certain completeness to that whole segment.
Yeah.
You've had an easy life, haven't you?
I've seriously never heard of anyone actually having worms. So that's gone to quite a dark place, hasn't it? Quite a dark chocolate place. Yeah. But anyway, there we go.
Okay. Your least favourite board game?
I don't know. I don't hate any board games really, but maybe Monopoly, I reckon. Probably just about.
So it's Christmas afternoon and someone suggests playing a board game. So the worst thing that anyone could suggest is Monopoly, do you think?
Yeah, I'd rather play something like Pictionary or Articulate or something like that on a Christmas afternoon.
The more obvious.
I mean, the reality is on Christmas afternoon I'll be flat out asleep for about 2 hours after all the services we've done. But I heard somebody talk about Logos, the Logo game, I think, recently.
Yes, they did.
Was it Steve Legg
It
talked
was,
about that?
yes.
And so that's quite a good game. We've got that as well, I think.
Greek, Logos, presumably also named for Jesus, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hologos.
In Greek?
Yeah. Enarche hen Hologos hen prostontion. The start of John's Gospel, that is. Anyway, yeah.
That's very good. Yeah. So we're weaving Bible things into this otherwise rather fatuous feature, aren't we? Which is nice. So finally, so there was the Great Eight. We want to add one to the Great Eight. We want to know your least favourite book of the Bible.
My least favourite book of the Bible? I don't know. That's a really difficult question. Maybe something like Leviticus or Numbers, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I don't think it's something I can answer because I'm
sacked.
so holy. You
get defrocked.
I love all. I say that sarcastically. I do actually love all the books of the Bible. So, yeah.
So it's very hard to choose. So I think that's fair enough and slightly unfair question.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. That was my favourite things. Well, nice to revisit that. And normally after my favourite things, we go straight into the dinner party. I think we're going to save that for a little bit later. We're just going to pop in the other new feature of the show since you did it, which is
12 years from now, what would you like to be doing? Or would it mainly be the same? Or would you rather be canoeing for a summer?
Yes, Mark, what would you like us to be talking about if we were having this conversation with you 12 years from now?
I'd love people to be saying that God used me to build up the church in Ottershaw, not just to grow it in terms of numbers, but to grow it in terms of people's own faith and confidence in God. It'd be great to see the gospel touching lives of people in the village who we all need it. We all need the gospel. And so, yeah, I'd love that. I'd love to see my children flourishing and doing really well in all the stuff they're doing. And probably to find a subject to write on, maybe to do some further writing in terms of academic stuff, and maybe to pursue some kind of doctorate or something like that.
still be ploughing the parish ministry furrow, do you think?
In this job, I've said to myself, at least 5 years, maybe 10, doing what I'm doing now. but who knows how that'll develop and things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you think you'll have had any nasty and unexpected attacks of worms over that time?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I've got two. I can't believe your kids have never had worms. I mean, I
don't think so.
Okay.
I might be corrected on that. But... Well, we wish you every blessing, Mark, wherever life and the Lord may take you over the coming years. And with that, I can hear the special Diddy Take A Pew podcast kitchen firing up because...
It's the fabulous Take A Pew dinner party, the miraculous Take A Pew dinner party. The food is quite irrelevant and some of the guests are odd. It's the impractical, fantastical Take A Pew dinner party. Yes, the fabulous Take A Pew dinner party. Now, of course, when we first met, we had a packed lunch, wasn't it? It was... Tell us, Reverend, what's in your lunchbox?
That's right.
The first one. And they were rolling ham and eating homemade sausage rolls and stuff. And then season 2, we progressed on to picnic. So we could have asked you what your perfect picnic was, but we thought it probably would be quite similar to your lunchbox. And of course, season 3 now, we've got the fabulous Take A Pew dinner party. Of course. So a reminder of the rules. So you have all your friends and family there, as you wish, or none of them, in fact. But whatever happens, there are 4 empty chairs. And you've got to fill 3 of those chairs with someone from any time in history, a cartoon character, and a non-domesticated animal.
And on the final chair, there's a gramophone player, which will play a single piece of music of your choice throughout the dinner.
Okay.
So let's kick off with the first chair. That's anyone from any time in history, or still going now.
I reckon maybe somebody like Eddie Izzard.
Okay.
I'd love to chat with him and just talk about, comedy, because I love his stand-up comedy. It's brilliant. Talk about faith as well, because I think he's got a sense of morality, which actually comes through often in his stand-up routines. But I think he's an atheist, and I think a lot of the reason why he's an atheist probably kind of revolves around the suffering that we've seen in the world, particularly around suffering in the Second World War, that kind of stuff. And I'd love to challenge that, but just get more of his ideas on that and opinions on that, because I think that's worth unpacking. And I think some people make sweeping statements about God and morality based on certain things, and it's just kind of accepted. But I think sometimes those things need a bit of unpacking and just kind of have a bit of a dialogue around God and suffering and those sorts of issues. Would be
Which
really
would make for a wonderful dinner party. Of course.
It'd be really interesting, wouldn't it?
All the other guests would be looking away, slightly embarrassed that this was all getting a bit fractious at the end of the table.
Put a bit of politics in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Throw it all in. But Andy's a Crystal Palace fan as well, so you could talk about football.
Oh, I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah.
So someone like Eddie Izzard, I think you said. So who would that be?
Eddie Izzard.
Actually, he's incredibly like it. Did anyone else, if you were thinking about this, would anyone else come to mind?
Yeah, maybe somebody around maybe politicians at the time of the start of the Iraq War. The whole thing about weapons of mass destruction. Because I think that's not really been unpacked publicly. There's obviously people that know more. So maybe like that sort of Tony Blair era, 2002-ish time.
So all quite current then, as opposed to, say, Chaucer.
Yeah. There's so many that you could choose from.
So to compliment Edward of the Izzard,
yes,
cartoon character.
I think I need to think about my childhood. Maybe somebody like Danger Mouse.
Danger Mouse.
Danger Mouse. Yeah. Or maybe Super Ted, but I think Danger Mouse.
Danger Mouse is
quite cool.
Delightful. So now we've got a non-domesticated animal. You might have to pick that quite carefully if you've got a mouse.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Actually, that is true. Because the obvious non-domesticated animal that I would choose is a mongoose.
Obviously.
Why? Because in the unlikely event that there was a cobra in the room.
Yes.
A mongoose could kill the cobra because they're immune to the cobra's venom.
Oh yeah, of course they are.
So mongoose kill cobras, and I think they eat them actually sometimes. Yeah. But they chase around them and tire the cobras out. But it doesn't actually matter so much if the cobra bites them because they're immune to the venom.
I think Danger Mouse would get on with the mongoose.
Yeah, either a mongoose or a wolverine.
A wolverine?
Yeah,
right.
They're really cute animals. Quite aggressive, actually, very aggressive. But yeah, mongoose or wolverine.
What does a mongoose, actually look like then?
Like small, rodent-like berry-looking things, aren't they?
Yes.
They're kind of... Yes, yeah, they're like
Stoatish.
stoats or
okay.
weasels, that kind of thing, yeah.
A bit like you, Ian, then. Look a bit like you.
Yes, bear a certain resemblance.
You do, don't you?
Right.
Moving swiftly on. Anyway, and the final chair, the piece of music of your choice, Mark, that you would have playing throughout the dinner.
There's an episode of Friends where it's a wedding. It might be Ross about to get married to Emily, or might be another wedding, I'm not sure, where in the background, keen Foo Fighters fans will recognise that they're playing Everlong on a string quartet, and it's just gently playing in the background. And I think probably that. So Everlong by the Foo Fighters played as a string quartet, just gently in the background. Yeah,
That's a lovely choice. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Perfect, exquisitely chosen. Well, we hope you get to enjoy such a dinner party before too long, Mark. Probably unlikely, to be honest, but there we go. And the last feature, which we did do before, but we're going to give you another chance at giving us one of these.
It's a spiritual pearl of wisdom.
Well, I was thinking the other day about Jesus and Nicodemus. And Nicodemus is a religious leader, and he comes to Jesus at night, and there's an amazing interaction between the two of them. And Jesus talks about this sort of phrase about being born again and everything. And it's a wonderful sort of conversation they have. But Nicodemus could have left it there. He could have just spoken to Jesus and gone away and never thought about Jesus again. But we pick Nicodemus up later on when Jesus has just been crucified and his body's been taken down from the cross. And it talks about Nicodemus holding on to Jesus. And this sense of just, actually it may have cost him a lot, but actually there was nothing better to do in the best possible way than hold on. And I thought, we could think about life today with loads of different crises going on around the world. The energy crisis. There are people with horrendous personal tragedies and difficult stories. And I think there's just something in that of whatever we're going through, don't ever let go. Hold on to Jesus through the storm that you're going through, whether that's a personal storm, whether it's the sort of the general storm of what life's throwing at us all at the moment. Because there is nothing, no one who will stabilize us better. And of course, that dead Jesus that Nicodemus held on to, of course, was later resurrected and is alive today and offers hope for us all. Eternal hope for us all, whatever we're going through. So, that would be my encouragement. Hold on to Jesus at all costs. It cost Nicodemus a lot. It was the eve of the Passover, and he wouldn't have been able to celebrate Passover because he'd been touching a dead body. How do you explain that to your mates? How do you explain that to your other religious leaders that he's been doing that? But he found that worthwhile to hold on to Jesus. And I would say it's worthwhile today. Just hold on, whatever it takes, to him through the storm or through whatever you're going through.
It's a spiritual pearl of wisdom.
Well, thanks for that, Mark. And it's been great fun having you back. Perhaps we can catch up again in another 3 years.
That'd be great. Not before then.
Well, you'll be 80.
That's true, yes. In the meantime, thank you for being on the show again.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And that's just about it for this Bijou episode. Don't worry, the normal Take A Pew podcast service will be resumed very soon. Until then, it's Toodle Pip from me.
And Tatty Bye from me.
Join us again next time as we Take A Pew